What's up everybody, Bootsy Greenwood here, your blue-collar mystic. And today I want to talk to you about the 3 phases of spiritual development. Activation, integration, and proliferation. Now stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to give you an awesome exercise to begin to use to integrate the lost aspects of yourself. So let's dive right in to these 3 phases of spiritual development. First of all, we have activation. That is becoming aware of yourself, having the veil lifted, understanding that your relationship and reality maybe wasn't what you thought it was, okay? You are seeing yourself, you're seeing reality, and you're aware and mostly in control of yourself and your reaction to situations. So we call that activation. Now the next phase of growth in spirituality is integration. Okay, a big fancy way to think about this is shamanic, right? Like soul retrieval. I need to get my soul fragments back. But basically, what this means is that there are parts of us that we've shut out over time, that we've said no to, that we've felt inadequate or ashamed of, and we've shut these out. And in order to really do our work and get to that proliferation stage where we're incredibly creative, we're doing our work, we need to integrate all these parts of ourselves back into ourself so that we have a complete our complete selves to draw from, a complete, like a whole well. Today I really want to focus on integration. This is what I've been working on. I've been working through some shamanic stuff, right? Ooh, shamanic, doing some soul retrieval, right? And so what I want to talk about are these ideas. Again, once again with the new age, big words and sounds fancy, sounds complicated, sounds difficult. Soul retrieval, soul reintegration. Really, here's what's going on is there are parts of ourselves that over our lifetime, we've basically shunned away, okay? We've said, no, that's embarrassing to me, okay? And I'm gonna give you an example. This is a very simple example, okay? Last night I went to a Dave Matthews Band concert, okay? So there's probably a lot of people cringing out there. A lot of my friends are like, oh God, don't even, Owen. But but when I was a kid, I loved Dave Matthews. I actually went to the Dave Matthews concert, not even of an intention of my own. My brother got tickets for us for my dad's birthday to go and see Dave Matthews. And, I had the biggest, I fanboyed out hard on Dave Matthews. I don't know how this guy, the original soft boy, I don't know how he still has hair, but he's been balding for 20 years. It's amazing to me. And I haven't really listened to his music. And when I got into college, I got into heavy rock, so the Jesus Lizard, Shellac. We started like this remedial blues rock band, math rock kind of, and I was all about it. I loved it. So I had to kind of turn my back on who I was and say, you know what, I can't like Dave Matthews anymore. He was the biggest thing right before I went to college. And when I was in high school, nobody really who was in my friend group liked that. I grew up just outside of Atlanta, so my friends were listening to 8 Ball, MJG, Outkast, Master P, and here I am, trying to be hard, it's and so I've got this, very soft, young, sort of innocent part of me that is a hopeless romantic and really, really identifies with Dave Matthews. So I had to listen to Dave Matthews apart from my friends, secretly, privately. I was a closet sort of fan. And I remember one of the first shows I ever went to was with my parents, and it was a Dave Matthews show. It was the second show ever. And I remember seeing these hippie frat kids, I guess, and they would have their checkbooks in their back pocket with their wallet. They'd be doing a funny super white boy dance, but I thought they were so cool, right? And so I really identify with that, but I wasn't really publicly allowing myself to be like, you know what? I like this stuff. I like Dave Matthews, right? So last night for me was kind of this opportunity to really see that part of myself again, accept it, acknowledge it, and be okay with it, right? Like, is it something to be proud of to be like a Dave Matthews fan? And I'm not calling myself a Dave Matthews fan per se, but this is an awesome, awesome thing to explore, because if there's this much, resistance and conflict, if it's this big of an idea, to just like a band because the rest of the world is like, oh, it's not cool to like that band. So I feel like, I have to, listen to this in secret, right? I'm going to say there's really no such thing as like a guilty pleasure. You just like it. Just like the thing. It's okay. This is really what integration is all about. It's about accepting ourselves for who we are in soul retrieval. So what it means is that there was a part of myself that I was humiliated, ashamed, and embarrassed to acknowledge. So last night was a really good opportunity for me to just like be there for it in that moment and be like, wow, there's so many memories flooding back to me, memories of my first concert, memories of high school, memories of college, memories of things I hadn't thought about in a long, long time. So for me to put myself in that situation, really, I just kind of wound up there, was impactful and powerful for me to think about who I was, what I liked, and really open up my awareness to a part of myself that I kind of shoved over here, and it's not something, I'm still not proud, right? Like, I'm still not proud of it because socially, right? It's like, well, Dave Matthews, ha ha ha. Which most people, if you're like, hey dude, do you like Dave Matthews? They just be like, yeah or no, right? To me, it's still this big deal, right? It's like, oh my God. Because when I was young and when all this kind of like programming was happening, that's how I felt about it. So integrating it, there's this like resistance to it. So understanding that, there's all kinds of things, right? This is a very superficial example, obviously. But also, music itself just has so many emotions tied to it, experiences tied to it. So when it comes to integration, it's really about accepting ourselves, accepting the parts of ourselves that we've shunned at points in our lives. And that could be sexual, that could be, health-wise, that could be, one thing that I've been dealing with a lot is just really avoidance, facing previous avoidance. That's been something. Dealing with some of the things that I did to myself with alcohol and drugs, blacking out and just completely losing pieces of my life. That is all stuff that is symptomatic of a repression of something that I didn't accept about myself, of a potential soul retrieval, right? And so as I'm going through and sort of taking an inventory of my past and thinking about how things have affected me, who I really am, what parts of myself have I said no to, right? And been like, no, that's not okay. I'm not allowed to be that because of what other people think or whatever. And that's really the beginning of that integration process, is exploring those things, allowing them to be there, and then allowing them to kind of come back in to yourself. So I'm going to be working on my next offering. Right now I'm working on it, and I'm going to be focusing on this particular aspect of spirituality, integration, quite a bit more in my next offering. If it's something that you want to talk about, you can hit me up. I have a free strategy call link in the description. It's like 15-20 minutes. Really casual, really straightforward, just kind of a meet and greet, but we could talk about where you're at, and maybe just explore a little bit about maybe some resources that might be helpful to you. So if you want to call me, do that. All right, so here's my tip. And this is from a shamanic dreaming book, okay? So as far as integration goes, the other cues for this are to pay attention to your dreams, okay? Ask yourself, what am I missing? Okay? And you ask it in several different ways. What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? Okay? With those different emphases. Ask yourself to show you what you're missing, okay? So that you can be shown that. You may be shown it in a symbology in a dream. You may have the opportunity to go to a concert that just happens out of nowhere. Any number of things can happen. But if you ask yourself, what am I missing? I want to bring in all the parts of myself, all the things that I've withdrawn from when I was young, right? I want those things to come back. I want to be whole. Because I think a lot of these addictions really stem from our withdrawal from self, okay? All these negative habits, you think you don't have enough willpower to do these things. In fact, it may not be willpower at all. It may be that you're low energy because there are parts of yourself that you haven't accepted, you haven't even acknowledged in years, right? And it's very possible that because you've stuffed parts of yourself away, or over here, it's like looked away from this or been ashamed of this or that you feel like you don't have enough energy or willpower to do the thing. When in fact, in reality, what it may be is that you're not really whole, you're not really complete, because there are parts of yourself that you have repressed, shunned, been embarrassed about, tucked away, etc. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be, okay? It's okay to be, okay? It's okay. It's okay to be. It's all right. You're allowed to be you, and you're allowed to like Dave Matthews or, whomever, right? Dave Matthews was like such a big deal. It was like so popular. And it was so funny because like even going to the first concert, I was like, my sister likes it. I don't like it, And so I was sitting there like, oh, this is so cool when I was a kid. And not even allowing myself to enjoy it in the moment, But ultimately, there were a couple of years when I did, and then I had to turn my back on it and say, you know what? No way, I'm a rocker. Like I don't listen to Dave Matthews, but in reality, there's a part of me that really appreciates and admires the type of emotion that's being conveyed with that music. It's very loving and romantic. I've said a couple of times, but yeah, ask yourself, what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? Ask yourself that question. Allow whatever comes up to come up, right? Pay attention to it, listen to it. Feel free to write about it, think about it, process it, because we need to reprocess this stuff as we bring our soul back up, as we retrieve our soul fragments from the infinite ether of the alternative space, as we say yes to ourselves and who we really are and re-accept ourselves and allow those parts in, right? Like I imagine I might get the most hate for this video of all just because of the Dave Matthews thing. But really, that is a very surface level kind of thing. That is an example. That's a great example, I think, because I could talk about kink or whatever. But I have a podcast coming out with Ellen Mellon in a couple of weeks, who's a sex and relationship coach, and we talk about that. So I'm going to leave that to the experts. Like I said, my friend Janine Lee, super amazing. We're going deep into the woo. We're going to unpack all of this live Friday night, 9 p.m. And subscribe to the channel, check out my website. I'm on TikTok now. Let's see, I got merchandise and all these other things now. So check those things out. Hit me up, holler at me. I'd love to connect with you. Give me a ring if you have any questions. I'm happy to accommodate. We can talk a little bit more about what resources may be helpful to you. Thank you so very much. I want to thank my friends at Content Safe for distributing this video all across the internet, and we'll see you guys next time.